welcome to the Higher Education Access Corner. Today, I am going to be talking about life beyond high school, key steps on how to prepare for college. Now, if you joined me for the first episode, I talked about exploring the different options and understanding how to choose the right school and how to choose the right major. Today, I'm going to be talking about finding the right fit in a college, how to actually apply and decide on the specific school for you. So let's get started as I share tips on how to choose the right school. There's so many different schools that are out there, especially throughout the United States. Over 2,000, 3,000 schools to choose from, and sometimes trying to find the right school for you can be a bit tedious. It can be daunting and just downright overwhelming. I always tell students, take a step back and don't rush it. Prime time when you're looking for a school, I always say is 10th and 11th grade and high school, because you have time to actually peruse those college fairs. You have time to talk to different students, different alumni, and get their experiences. And you have also a time to just figure out what it is that you want to do. So again, in the previous episode, we talked about making sure that that you're choosing a school that has your major. We're also talking about making sure that you find the right cost. But once you've actually looked at a couple different schools, you have to narrow down those choices. So I always say a good number of schools to look at prior to your senior year in high school is give yourself maybe 5 to 10, no more than 10 schools to look at before your senior year in high school. And some of the things I say you want to do is you want to kind of create a list. Those lists of the things that you want in a school and the things that you need in a school. So while you're researching schools, you want to make sure that the schools you're interested in have every single thing that is important to you. And then you narrow it down from there. If you can get all of your needs and your Mets want in a single school, then that's ideal. That doesn't always happen. So if it doesn't, make sure that you can at least go to a school that takes care of all of your needs. So some of the top things I say that you should look for. Make sure, number one, you have a school, that you're attending a school that offers the program of study that you are interested in attending. Nothing worse than seeing students go to a school, select a school because it looked good. They went to the campus, very beautiful campus. However, when you sat down to actually pick your courses, you realize they didn't even have your major. So you don't want to be that student. You want to do your research up front. So make sure that, number one, they offer the major or program of study that you're interested in. Also, you want to make sure that it's in a location that you like. Make sure that it's, if you're a city girl, that you're not going to be, out there on your own and lost if you go to a rural area where maybe it's hard to get transportation and you don't have your own. You also want to make sure that it's a school that has the requirement, that offers the admissions options that will allow you to get in, because some schools have specific skill sets that will say you need to do so many Englishes, so many maths. Sometimes they will also tell you that you have to meet a certain SAT score. Maybe some schools will say you have to do an essay. So find out what it is that you need from each of these schools in order to get it done. Another thing, make a list of pros and cons for each school that you're interested in. So whether they have what you want or they don't, kind of rank those things that they have. Maybe school A offers a really, really good academic schedule for you. And it's kind of like it's easy to flow through. They offer day and evening courses, totally meet your schedule. Maybe they also have some required courses where you can only take them in the evening, and that's not your choice. You put that down as a con, and do that with every single school. Maybe you're that student who's interested in study abroad options. And if you are, then you want to make sure that school that you're looking into can give you that option. There are so many students who will say, you know what, this is a prime time. I want to see the world and I want to study abroad. It's a great experience for those who are interested in. So again, if that's at the top of your list, make sure that it's something that you can get into. If you're someone who needs financial aid, make sure the school has some financial aid options that are available to you. Now, when it's time to actually do those campus visits, whether you're doing them virtually or whether you're doing them online, I always say, bring a list of questions with you, talk to the admission staff, see if you're able to sit in on classes, just to get a feel for what it looks like and what it feels like. I also say, take pictures of the school while you're there, because if you're visiting various schools, you may not remember what every school looked like. Go into their cafeteria if you're going to be living on campus and eating there. Also look at their dorm rooms or what their housing looks like. If by chance you're somebody who really is into the social scene, make sure that you go and you check out what options are available to you, what type of social activities are available, what type of sports are available, if in fact that's something that you're interested in. And chat with the staff that are there, chat with the students that are there. Also say, check out the town while you're there. Talk to the students, talk to the community folks, or a little bit off of campus. Because remember, if you're going to a school and you're not going to be commuting and you're not going to stay at home, that's going to be your community for a while. That's going to be where you live at. So you want to make sure it's a good fit for you. And I also say, if you really, really are honing down these schools, schedule more than one visit. Sometimes when they have like students coming in for a set day, they hype up everything. They have their band playing, they have, parades, they have shows for you all, but then get a feel for what it's like just on a normal college day. And in addition to that, I also say for students, make sure that when you're talking to your guidance staff, that when it's time to actually apply to the schools, they're prepared for you, because you're going to need some things in advance. You're going to have transcripts, because most post-secondary schools are going to require your high school transcripts. You may have to have letter of recommendations, so get those letter of recommendations early. Talk to your guidance staff, or maybe there's an adult in your community, in your home that you know and you respect. Get their opinion on your applications. Make sure you know the deadlines. Make sure what is needed on the entire application, and do not leave anything out of it. Because sometimes you've made that your choice with the school, and you didn't actually get into the school simply because you didn't complete all of the information that was needed for you in order to get into the school. So prior to your senior year, here are some things I tell everyone to do. Kind of just get a jump start on your education. Again, you've already researched your career options, and continue to do so if you're not sure. Prepare for those tests and identify important deadlines. I always say create like a spreadsheet in Excel or just on a tablet somewhere. That's going to talk about all of the key deadlines that you'll need to meet. SAT deadlines. When do you actually need to register for your SATs or ACTs? And then when's the date that you're going to take them? And if you need to take them twice, that's okay. College applications. What's the deadline? When are they due? And what information is going to be required? Financial aid applications. Again, you don't want to forget about that, because no matter what school you've decided on, again, you're going to have to pay. You also want to make sure that you are on track to you're taking the required courses in order to get into your specific program of study. And again, if you're not planning to go to school, what is your plan right now? So have a plan. Maybe you're saying, I'm going to go right into the workforce. Well, then some things I say is get you on a resume that's created for yourself, and also start to look at interviewing skills, things like that. And those things don't hurt if you're planning to go to school as well, because guess what? Some schools will tell you that they want you to do an interview. So you want to get those interview skills up. And also an academic resume is a great way to keep all of your key information in one nice spot. And for those who don't know what an academic resume is, it's kind of like a 1 or 2 sheeter that's going to collect key information about you as a student, and it's going to highlight your high school journey. It's going to include things such as your academic successes, any extracurricular activities you were involved in. Maybe you did community service. If so, did you write that information down? Talk about the number of hours that you've done. And I also say, if you haven't done any community service, now's a great time to do it. It looks great on admission applications. It looks great for scholarship applications as well. Now, here's something I also tell students when it's time to apply for your school. Before you actually do that, a couple things I just say do. Social media is out there and it's big. So one of the things I say is clean up your social media pages, because schools do pay attention. So if there's anything on there that you would not be proud for any adult that you love and respect to see, if you wouldn't want them to see it, take it off your social media pages. It doesn't belong there. And once it goes out there into the universe, it stays out there. The other thing I say do is to create an email address that is going to be a professional one, and that you will use specifically for your higher education endeavors. So if you're completing applications, if you're completing scholarship essays, anything that's going out, make sure it's going to go to that email address. Also, if you have another email address, it limits having a separate email address, limits it from getting crowded, and you possibly missing an opportunity because you didn't see the particular email addresses. Now, here's another thing I talk to with students that I always say. Also, look at the particular career field that you want to go into and find out how strict they are. Sometimes with talking to students, and I know body art and things like that. It's just a form of expression. So some students have tattoos, different color hairs. I actually have a few piercings. I have a nose piercing that I did when I was in college, and that's okay. However, I don't wear it because it's not always considered professional in every setting. What I want you to do is to make sure that you've researched your particular field of study to find out before you make any changes to your body, is it acceptable? And in particular, if you're planning to go into the military, you can't just put a tattoo on any part of your body and it be acceptable. Sometimes law enforcement is the same way. If maybe you want to be a teacher, you want to work around children, you also have to be mindful of that. There are some employers that will tell you that you have to keep your credit score up to par. You can't counsel someone on their finances if in fact your finances aren't okay. Also, you want to make sure that everything that you are doing for yourself, that you are representing yourself well. You are creating a brand for yourself, and you want to make sure that you're protecting your brand. So do everything that you can to always present yourself in the best of light. That's not to say that you won't make mistakes, because we all do. And it's okay to make those mistakes, but know that those mistakes come with consequences. I always say you're never, ever excluded from, you're always have an option to start over, but sometimes your goals may have to be a little delayed based off of the choices you make. So I won't belabor you with that, but I think you kind of get the point. Some things I also tell students when it is actually time to apply and decide on a school, really factor in on what's important. So academics may be important. Are costs a major factor for you and your family as well? Is location a major factor for you and your family? Sit down and have a healthy discussion with your family to figure out what is the best option for you, what your top choices should look like. Do you need to choose a school that's close by? Also, make sure that if in fact you decide, you know what, I'm not quite sure to go off to a big university, and I thought that's what I wanted to do, it is okay to choose a community college. Community colleges are great. Sometimes I've talked to students and they say, well, I don't want to go to just a community college. They kind of put it down. And I say, community colleges are great schools. So don't actually knock any school off of your list based off of cost or what you think someone else is going to perceive that school to look like. Whatever you choose to do when it's time to apply, make sure you're choosing a school that is definitely the right fit for you. And then at the end of the day, make sure that you can afford those choices that you've chosen. So this concludes part 2 of our series on life beyond high school, key steps on how to prepare for college. Join me for the next episode which is called Covering the Cost Without Breaking the Bank. So once you've explored those options, you know what school you want to go to, we now need to pay for it. So you want to make sure that you tune in for the very next episode. You don't want to miss it, and I can't wait to see you there.